This is a CBS News special report. Here is CBS News correspondent Harry Reisner.
Good evening. The body of Senator Robert Kennedy is now in the air in a jet furnished by the White House and the Air Force, heading for New York from Los Angeles. It left there a little bit before 4:30 New York time this afternoon. It will land at LaGuardia Airport in New York. The body will be brought to St. Patrick's Cathedral, arriving sometime around 9:30 New York time tonight. Tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., and longer if there are lines there, it will lie in state before a Requiem Mass at 10 a.m. Saturday, then to go by train from New York to Washington, and in a motor procession from New York's Union Station to go by the Senate Office Building and by the Justice Department, where Robert Kennedy served as Attorney General, before burial at about 5:30 Saturday afternoon in the same plot where President John Kennedy lies. Already there are people gathering by St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York, waiting for the arrival of the casket tonight. There is CBS News correspondent Charles Kuralt.
St. Patrick's has been the scene of the funeral of a great many public figures, and on Saturday it's to be the scene of the high Requiem Mass for Senator Kennedy. The motor procession that is to bring the body of Senator Kennedy here isn't expected for another 2 hours, but already there must be 1,000 or 2,000 people gathered on Fifth Avenue in front of stores which have the picture of Senator Kennedy in them. His body will arrive here in about 2 hours and will be met by Terrence Cook, the new Archbishop of New York. And then tomorrow, all these people who are waiting here to pay their last respects to Senator Kennedy in the state from which he was elected to the Senate will have a chance to view his body. The body of the senator will lie in state at St. Patrick's all day tomorrow before the high Requiem Mass on Saturday morning. Charles Kuralt, CBS News at St. Patrick's Cathedral on Fifth Avenue, New York.
We will be there when the plane lands at LaGuardia and proceeds into St. Patrick's Cathedral tonight. In the meantime, we would like at this time to present a report on the life and career of Senator Robert Kennedy with CBS News correspondent Walter Cronkite.
These last few weeks, Robert Francis Kennedy was enjoying himself. There was a good fight to fight, and he was a fighter. Ideals were at stake, and he was an idealist. And for a man whose demeanor always seemed to suggest a boyish kind of shyness, he really enjoyed getting out among the people. He enjoyed the physical contact. He refused police protection because he said that all the people wanted to do was to touch him, not to hurt him. He made a point of that. He knew that the people didn't want to hurt him. And he plunged into areas that even local mayors steer clear of, and he was manhandled. Something seemed to grow in the shy third brother of a dynamic family in these weeks of primary campaigning. The younger brother who had stayed behind the scenes and come into his own, especially in the wild final week in California.
Tuesday night was a particularly joyous night. Robert Francis Kennedy was 42 years old and had just won the victory of his political life in the California presidential primary. He spoke to his supporters, heard their cheers, and invited them to Chicago. Senator Kennedy was a very happy man as he made his way out of the crowd into the hotel kitchen, into the range of a young, swarthy assailant. The senator was hit by 2 bullets. 5 other persons were also wounded as bullets sprayed the kitchen. Only the senator was critically hurt. Police later identified the alleged assailant as 24-year-old Siran Siran, a native Jordanian who came to this country 11 years ago. Siran's brother Adel is said to have given the name to police. Fingerprints later confirmed that identification. Among the things discovered in a search of Siran's personal effects was a newspaper clipping criticizing Senator Kennedy's support of United States aid to Israel, and a notebook with scribbled lines saying Kennedy must be killed before June 5th. The suspect himself reportedly has refused to talk with police. He would not even tell them his name. Robert Kennedy was shot at 12:15 p.m. Pacific Coast time. the end of a brilliant political and public career. At the age of 42, Robert Francis Kennedy was dead.